Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shooting Show, and welcome to today's program, friends. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about, and we've got a couple of disasters to talk about. Governor Pataki signed this bill into law in New York that is one of the worst anti-gun bills in the United States, one of the worst it's ever been. Now, if you're in New York, notice that this 590 Mossberg, this is just a regular old gun that's on sale a lot of places. It has a bayonet lug on it. You realize that if you possess this bayonet lug in conjunction with some other things, if you've got an AR-15 and you're in New York, you got to get rid of it. I'll tell you, it's not just a sales pitch, but certainly if you can get one of our mech techs in New York, for now anyway, and right now they're not coming under this horrible law that Governor Pataki, friends, he's a Republican, and we don't know what his deal was. Maybe he's trying to win favor with the United Nations because they're in New York City, but I know this, some of the finest, most decent people we've got, some of the most decent gun owners in the United States are right there in New York. You've got two of the finest gun companies in the world. You've got Dan Wesson in Norwich, New York, and you've got the Kimber Company there in Yonkers, two of the finest gun companies. What about Remington? They began in New York. What in the world? But you see, it's a case of the gun owners have been overrun by politicians that care nothing about our Constitution, care nothing about our ability to defend ourselves. I read a news item on the radio program this week about Brazil. Brazil has 175 million people. They've only got 8 million guns in the country of Brazil. Well, for some reason, and yeah, we've got our chorus of crickets and dry flies and whatever going, but anyway, in Brazil, their crime rate is much higher than ours here in the United States. And you know what else? They freely admit that their police in Brazil are corrupt, or some of them barely literate, can't read and write. They're corrupt and abusive. So what is the Brazilian government going to do? The UN, the evil United Nations, been down there at work. The Brazilian government wants to confiscate all guns owned by private citizens, and they're going to give the police more guns. In the same New York Times newspaper article, there was a hostage situation. Someone on drugs took some hostages on a bus. He stepped off the bus with one of the hostages as a shield. The police shot the hostage and wounded the hijacker of the bus. So what they do, they got the hijacker in the ambulance and they strangled him on the way to the hospital. That's what they did to him. That's police. Plus, when the doctor at the hospital wanted to put asphyxiation or strangling as the cause of death, the police threatened him. Do you want a police state? I don't think so. See, it's just backwards what they're doing in Brazil. The guns aren't the problem. The problem is corrupt government. The problem is lack of morality on some of the people they're dealing with. Guns aren't the problem, so they're going to disarm all people. It's that same lunacy that we're seeing right here in the United States. The guns are not the problem. Do you realize since England has had gun confiscation, their crime rate is above ours now? Violent crime. Guns everywhere. In England you can buy on the black market. You think drugs are a problem? You think drugs are a problem here in the United States? You think alcohol was a problem during Prohibition? You outlaw guns. You outlaw guns. We're going to see carnage like we have never seen in the history of this country. And yet, some of these politicians, and I'm being charitable, some of these politicians, this is what they want to do. So if you're in New York, get ready. You're going to probably have to take your AR-15 out of state. Now gun shows have essentially been shut down in New York. A lot of other provisions we'll be talking about later on as we learn more about this. It's a terrible thing. A lot of things to show you on today's program. We do have a great show for you. This is the Mossberg 590 shotgun. But you'll notice it looks a little different than your regular 590. That's because it has a choke machining tool folding stock. Want to know how to make your shotgun about a foot shorter? Well, you can put one of these choke stocks on it. And this is an experimental model for the 590. They have them in stock for the Remington 870 as well as the Mossberg 500 and some other guns, but this is an experimental model for the 590. Now realize, friends, this is a pump shotgun, reliable under the most adverse conditions. But Ms. Feinstein and the Federales will not let you put a folding stock on this on this jungle gun, on this semi-automatic. No. But you can have it on the pump gun. That's how stupid these people are, friends, that make this gun legislation. The jungle gun will probably work. A lot of some shotguns, if you could put a folding stock on them, remember, you've got to have a firm platform for the action to work. The jungle gun is pretty doggone sporty. It might work, but you can't put one on here, yet you can still have the folding stock on a pump gun. Now then, one of the great things here, we have a pistol grip, and this has some really important function on these guns. Even if you can't get a folding, if you got one of the autos like the jungle gun, you can get a pistol grip stock. We're going to take a look at one of the uses for a pistol grip stock a little later in the program. But anyway, this is such a neat setup. These are available from Choate Machine & Tool. And let me show you something else that's also available from Choate Machine & Tool. Now friends, what we're looking at here is an executive letter opener. This is from Choate Machine & Tool. There's a reason I'm showing you this. It is made of a very strong polymer, and I tell you what, it's sharp. They have another thing here. This is the executive eye scraper. Now these are very handy things. One, it's a very strong, you can get a lot of leverage on it and scraping that ice off. But I tell you what, it might have some other uses as well. You can get your choice of the executive letter opener or the executive eye scraper when you call Choate Machine & Tool Company for one of their catalogs. You can get either your choice here for only $2, and either one of these is available. They're a $5 value. You can get the executive letter opener here, which is very similar in size to my Spyderco knife actually, and or the executive eye scraper. And if it gets dull, in fact, let me show you something here. They're pretty darn sharp. You can just peel this apple right away. See there, just peel it. They're plenty sharp. Just what all kinds of neat things. If you do dull it on opening your letters or peeling your apples, you can take a fingernail file and sharpen these, either the executive eye scraper or the executive letter opener. Now friends, as we said, it will easily open any sort of letter you can imagine. A terrific letter opener, but you know, it's amazing, these things are so strong, I guess, that you could press them into use in self-defense, you know. Absolutely. Again, and you know, this executive eye scraper is such a, such a neat little tool, and like I said, you can get good leverage on that windshield, won't scratch your windshield. But you know, again, heck, you never know when you might just have it in your hand and might need it for self-defense. Now, isn't that amazing how handy? And there's no metal in them. Go right in your pocket, just as handy as can be, or in your purse. And you know, it's kind of a bad cut. My goodness, isn't that amazing how that works? And you can just do all kinds of just leaking water everywhere. Isn't that amazing how handy those can be? You never know when you're going to see a water jug there, it's going to need cutting.
Stay tuned for more of The Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the new Georgia Arms catalog. It is out now, and on the cover we have a memorial to Jim Clark Sr., certainly a great friend of ours, a great friend of the folks there at Georgia Arms. We really appreciate their consideration, but people need to know about wonderful personalities like Jim Clark Sr., and certainly we do miss him. The new catalog is out, and it is exciting. Let's take a closer look. Friends, looking inside, we of course see these great bargains at quantities of ammunition, and yes, we see the shooting show. We also see our pistol kits on sale, and we're up to 3 loads now for the 460 Rowland. So all kinds of great ammunition here in this Georgia Arms. In fact, here we are, yes indeed. Many other calibers available though. 45 auto rim, you don't see that everywhere. I tell you what, 41 Magnum, 454 Casull, they will even sell you components for your loading bench. Just a terrific company. Remember, friends, they have been supporting our project for all these years, and we really appreciate their participation. You can call Georgia Arms at 1-800-624-6861. Get a free catalog, and please remember to tell them that you saw it here on our program. Friends, you know, we're being somewhat humorous here, but let me tell you what, I don't have any qualms about equipping any of you for self-defense. Remember, there are always more good people than there are bad. The bad news is the bad people are always going to be armed. They're not going to bat an eyelash at hurting you. And the way I see it, if we can help you in defending yourself, well, we've just done a good turn for you and your family. Remember that Choate has these extended magazine tubes. Yes, they do have a kit for the jungle gun. Remember, this is a Mossberg 9200. They do have extended magazine kits. This is a 7-shot unit, 6 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. You can purchase spare springs. They have even longer tubes that are available for the 870 Remington and other guns, a number of other guns. And yes, they have added the jungle gun to their list of extended magazine tube kits. Just some of the nicest people going, friends, and they're trying to help our project, so we need to help them. But they also make some useful stuff. Let me mention something to you. If you have a Chinese SKS or an AK-47 or MAK, we have picked up some information in the past that possibly there may be a traceable chip in some of those Chinese gun stocks. It was done under the auspices of, well, some gang members may buy these, and so even the ATF talked about having a forward trace on these particular guns. So the good news here is Choate makes a synthetic stock for the SKS and also for the AKs. And I believe I'd just try and replace my stock. I believe I'd get that Chinese stock out of my house. This is something I cannot prove this at this time, but it's not a bad lick because that Chinese wood is not too good anyway. So just small thing. You can get a stock for your SKS and many other guns. Get a catalog. Remember, you can get the executive letter opener or the executive eye scraper for only $2. Take your choice when you order one of the catalogs. Friends, you can call Choate Machine and Tool in Ball Knob, Arkansas. Call them 1-800-972-6390. Again, 1-800-972-6390. And please remember to tell them that you saw it here on our show. Now, friends, what you're looking at here is a bear that has been taken with the 460 Rowland cartridge in this pistol. We're real proud of this. We've had large cougar, large wild hogs, deer, elk, and now we have a bear that has been taken with our 460 cartridge. Well, friends, we've got a lot of information to cover on today's program. A lot of people call me and ask, well, Johnny, we're going to store some guns, and I can understand that. I can understand your concern about long-term storage. And no, this is not a paid commercial, but fluid film is the best thing we've ever seen as lubricant. It is also great field dressing if you hurt yourself. Best thing I've ever found for sunburn. No, it's not advertised for that, but it sure works for me. I can say that. You burn yourself, spray some fluid film on it. It has a lanolin base, and it absolutely will stay on things. It's great on parts, great for preserving anything metal, leather, anything like that. You can find fluid film at your John Deere tractor dealer. A lot of you, we had sold it here on the program, but we found out you can buy it cheaper at John Deere than we can sell it to you. And heck, we ought to call these people up and say, look, we're selling this stuff for you, but this is a public service announcement. Fluid film, there's some other good lubricants out there, but let me tell you what, we've never found anything that will do what fluid film will do. You can find it at your John Deere tractor dealer. So everybody ought to have a can of this in their car, can in their truck, because it's so good on injury, so good on sunburn. One of the things we were talking about earlier, I'm going to go ahead and open this action. And one of the reasons for a folding stock, one, it's easier to store, easier to stow. You can put these in a much smaller location, and when you need to, all you have to do is just press the button, and now you've got a strong and solid stock from choke machining tool. But talking about the pistol grip, and hopefully we'll have a pistol grip stock in here the next week or so we can show you on the jungle gun. Here's the advantage it has. You can tuck the stock back here under your arm. You have control of the gun here with the pistol grip, and you can have a flashlight in one hand, and you can look around. You have control of it. If you have to use your other hand and you can't have it mounted also, this will make it easier to mount the gun on your shoulder. And of course you can shoot it. You got that flashlight like so around here, much easier with the pistol grip. Also, again, you can hang the stock underneath your arm and control the gun. So that's very difficult to do without this pistol grip. That's one real advantage of the pistol grip. Maybe that's why they work so well. In fact, maybe that's why the anti-gun types don't want us to have it. We've got some birdshot here, and let me show you something. A lot of people wouldn't think of birdshot. This is number 8, the just regular old birdshot. You wouldn't think about a birdshot being potent for defense. Well, at the closer ranges, we've got some 3/4 inch plywood here. Let's take a look on this target right here. Just birdshot. So needless to say, see, that's 3/4 inch plywood. It just drilled right on through it with just birdshot. Now what birdshot won't do, it won't go through many more walls, but it's darn sure potent up close and personal.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The anti-self-defense crowd that believes America will be better off when guns are banned wants us to learn from other countries that have much stricter gun control. I think they have a point. We can learn from other countries. Can we agree starting out that we will apply here the lessons we learned there? Let's look at England. England has the kind of gun control that President Clinton, Senator Schumer, and Sarah Brady of Handgun Control Incorporated would like to see here. If they did not want a gun ban for the whole country, they would not tolerate the gun ban in Washington, D.C., which is by the Constitution under Congress's legislative control. For decades, the only gun a Brit could own was one that was registered with the government. When the gun banners decided a couple of years ago to ban them all, with insignificant exceptions, it was no problem to get them all. But all is not well in the gun banners' island paradise. According to a study done by the Clinton Justice Department and Oxford University in England, the British violent crime rate is now greater than that of the U.S. British police officials estimate that there are some 3 million illegal firearms, many of them machine guns, illegally in the hands of criminals. The country's media has labeled the city of Manchester as Gunchester. The government's commitment to disarming the people reached a new peak of absurdity when in April an English lawyer lost his court battle to recover his shotgun. Turned out the authorities thought he was too careless with how he stored it. His octogenarian mother knew where the key was for the safe where the gun was stored. If a gun ban on an island has not kept criminals from getting their hands on guns, how will submitting Americans to a background check or imposing a gun-free zone around schools, churches, post offices, and other places keep guns out of criminal hands? From Washington, this is Larry Pratt.
For more information on Gun Owners of America, the only organization in the Washington, D.C. area that is truly fighting for our gun rights, you can give them a call. Area 888, free phone call, 888-886-GUNS, 888-886-4867. And please tell them you saw it on our show.
Now, friends, we have an unusual gun to look at here today. One is unusual in the condition it's in. This started off as a very, very fine .22 long rifle. This is a Browning Challenger. You see, you've still got a little gold on the trigger here. But this gun was claimed from an estate, and obviously all this has been badly rusted, and the rust has been mostly gotten off of it, but you can barely read. .22 long rifle Challenger, made in USA. But it was in terrible condition. Some people who didn't know or didn't care anything at all about guns literally stuck this in a place where it was, I think there was water and corrosion for several years. Now, yes, we know this gun is empty. These are very, very fine .22 semi-automatics. It has a 10-round magazine, and the reason we're looking at this today is it was in pretty deplorable shape. But we actually have a good shooter here, friends. Even though it looks so bad on the outside, it actually is a good shooter, a very serviceable and useful little gun. Let's take a look at how to take it down, to check it, and certainly to clean it. Now, friends, when I saw this gun, I said, oh no, I mean, it's absolutely ruined. And I tell you, seeing a fine gun like this Browning in the condition it was in was pretty bad. I mean, it was just absolutely, it just makes you angry that there are people out there that don't care about fine machinery. Of course, there are others who would like to see it cut up, I'm sure. But it is an interesting design. One thing I like about the Browning series is, guess what? It has the same grip angle as the 1911. So a lot of people practice with these .22 long rifle for their 1911. The grip angle is the same, and also the safety and the slide stop are in similar locations to the great 1911. Well, we know it's empty. We can see into the chamber there. And let me show you what I did when I first got hold of it to use as a feature on the show. Here's how you take it down. You have a screw right here, and we're going to do that now. And you loosen this screw. Bring it on out pretty well there. And now the barrel will separate from the frame. Now, I have completely disassembled this gun, and when you take the grip off, the grip holds the slide stop in place, and we're not going to do that today. But you also can take off the slide for cleaning by dropping the slide stop there. It will just slip off, but beware, you've got a spring here. You've got to pay attention to what you're doing. Although you can clean the gun very nicely by just taking the barrel off. This is pretty much the standard model. You have an elevation screw here in the back of the sight here. Now, the windage screw is actually on the bottom, so you have to disassemble it to change the windage, but certainly you change elevation from the top. But we checked the barrel, and guess what? The bore was still good after all that, and I was able to clean and lubricate all the internal parts, and guess what? This thing shoots great. So we saved one from the scrap heap here. Someone got hold of this gun that didn't know if it was any good or not, and began to clean on it and get the rust off, and Of course, we got some fluid film right here. That's what they use. And also, you might want to have an old gun like this re-blued, or since we're down to bare metal, it's going to rust very easily. So again, that's why I've got the fluid film handy here. Fluid film will protect it about as well as anything I'm aware of. Absolutely, it's leaking now. And it's told us it's ready to be reloaded.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
You know, the 44 Magnum is a great cartridge, but it has a lot of noise and a lot of recoil. Wouldn't it be nice to have the same power level in the slim and compact and lightweight 1911 style gun? Same power level, not nearly as much or recoil. You can have it with our pistol kit. Here's the 45 Auto on a water bottle target. Now let's shoot the other target with the same gun fitted with our 460 Rowland pistol kit. Or how about the power of this lever action rifle in a lightweight, handy semi-automatic carbine? The 460 Rowland MechTech carbine conversion unit for the 1911 frame is only $345 plus shipping, and the 460 Rowland pistol kit for the 1911 pistol is only $275 plus shipping.
And now for our support group, Custom Leatherwork and Saddlery in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Their number 225-667-9225. And Brooks Communication in Albuquerque, New Mexico, area 505-888-2929. Dennis Crocker Firearms Training in South Carolina, area 864-587-8722. Camouflage Technologies in Southern California, area 909-6